Going over to the political part podcast, you have Wall Street Apes posting the cost of insurance going up in the United States for this year. Now, he says, quote, American shows his 2028 health insurance family plan will cost. The Bronze Saver Plus plan is $2,094.15. That's per month. That's $27,229 per year with a $13,000 deductible, $20,300 maximum out of pocket. No one can afford this. Barack Obama destroyed our healthcare with the Affordable Care Act. Yeah, that's true. And there's a screenshot or a little video of it, which basically $2,100 per month. So you can pay for people who do not have. So you can pay for someone who doesn't work to get healthcare. So you can pay for the older people who cost a lot more. Because again, one of the biggest things about the Affordable Health Care Act, also known as Obamacare, was they couldn't charge someone more if they're unhealthy or they're elderly, which on average, people get older, there's more health issues, which logically speaking, their costs should be increased. So, I mean, you have more and more young people becoming more irate at the system. This is one of those contributing factors. Also the average home buyers in their 50s now, buying up 2 or 3 houses now, while you can't even afford a single house. And your cost is that high in part to pay for them. Which is ridiculous.
Look at this. Somebody come look at this. Look at this. Somebody come and look at this. Look at this.
What a scam. Yeah. Remember all the lies with the Obamacare? Said, oh yeah, you'll get to keep your doctor. Oh yeah, you'll get to keep your doctor. Your costs will not go up. Spoiler alert, costs went up through the stratosphere, and you did not get to keep your doctor. My theory is that Obamacare was directly, it was just Marxist crap to force everyone to eventually become dependent on the government because it drives up the private healthcare so absorbently. So you'll have no choice in the future. My theory is that it was designed to destroy the healthcare industry so it become a government entity, like all the Marxist nations, all the communist nations that all the Democrats love so much. I mean, it's gotten so unaffordable. I know a lot of people who are relatively successful. They got software engineering jobs, they got leadership positions. They're dropping the healthcare insurance because they can't freaking afford it. That's disgusting. That's ridiculous. People working full time in a mid to high level job can't afford health insurance because it's so expensive. It's not sustainable, obviously. But we have to keep working hard for people who don't work at all, get free health insurance. They'll get free healthcare. And again, I think there are some people who do need some help in the world. There are a lot of scammers in the United States as well. A lot of people bumming off the system, not working at all, who are able-bodied. One of the few things I like about recent government in terms of Trump, they're putting some requirements in for food stamps, EBT, and healthcare. You have to actually work a little bit if you are able-bodied. So again, if it's up to me, I got to a point where I'm so fed up with government handouts, I would get rid of all of them, decrease the taxes so you get to keep more money in your pocket, and then let you decide what local church, nonprofit, or local non-government entity you can support, and they can help people infinitely more than the fat, over-bloated government entity that is our U.S. government right now. I think that's one of the reasons this went so viral. I got 2.6 million views and 25,000 likes because everyone's seeing the healthcare costs go through the stratosphere. It's bullcrap. It's ridiculous. It's not the free market. The U.S. has the worst of both worlds where they have the government way too much interference and the private sector trying to make a profit, which is getting more and more difficult. As much as people hate United Healthcare so much, they vilify their CEO and actually the disgusting monsters that people celebrating his assassination. Their profit was about, 2.96%? It's an instance where there's a lot of cost when it comes to healthcare. Also, doctors, their insurance costs is like 6 figures. Like, there's so much fat that you could trim away, and yet at the same time, there's a lot of cost as well. And Lord knows hospitals are also not very transparent. I think it should be like McDonald's. You walked up to a hospital, you should be able to tell you, hey, here's a menu of procedures. It's going to cost about this much. Might be a 5 or 6% variation if there's a complication, something like that. Now again, there's some nuances with certain procedures, but there are some that are relatively straightforward. You shouldn't have to go on a scavenger hunt and call all these folks and try to get to the bottom line and be like, what's the actual cost? And you should not be punished if you don't pay cash. If anything, it should be an incentive, I would argue, which some hospitals, not all of them, do have that as an option. Now, one of the first comments comes to us thanks to Sashich Fras Eternia saying, quote, Obamacare operates as a calculated wealth transfer from the productive middle class to the dependency class. That $27,000 premium represents a penalty for your employment. They engineered that cost crisis to break private ownership of your health and force reliance upon the state. You are paying a mortgage for a deductible that insurance bankruptcy before coverage kicks in. This is not the failure of policy, it's a successful implementation of economic serfdom. Getting 785 likes. Yep. Let's see. The Green Dragon Tavern says, imagine saying Obama destroyed it when Republicans were unable to come up with a replacement alternative for the last 50 years. It's not been 50 years, though. Got 1.5 thousand likes. Now, again, one of the reasons I have a great disdain for Democrats, as well as a lot of Republicans, pejoratively known as rhinos or Republicans in name only, yeah, Republicans could have absolutely overturned and got rid of Obamacare. They got the tax penalty down to a $0 amount in terms of you can choose not to buy it. Another bullshit thing. They said, oh, you have to buy this or else we're going to punish you. We're going to force you to buy this. But again, not financial or not advice, but my opinion, not everyone needs healthcare, especially if you're a young 18-year-old. It's one of those things where, on average, you'll be just fine. So again, don't take my advice. It's ridiculous. You're forced to buy it. Now, yeah, Republicans, they had the House, the White House, and the Senate multiple times in my lifetime. They had the votes. They could have overturned it. But they didn't because they said they needed someone to campaign on. I think that was leaked. Who was that who leaked it? But yeah, they admitted, oh yeah, we need something to campaign on. Democrats do the same damn thing as well. And that's why they don't solve some of their problems or solve some of the things that their constituents want them to solve. Because politicians always seem to justify their job and pretend like they're doing something and raise campaign funds on some controversial issue, which, I mean, throughout my lifetime, you got, same 5 to 6 core issues that keep coming up in politics. People donate more money, and, maybe the Republicans gain a little bit, then Democrats gain a little bit more, and everyone, quote unquote, wins a little bit. At the end of the day, those polarizing topics are still there, and I don't think there'll be any major conclusion, because, again, they use it to raise campaign funds. Yeah, so Republicans, yeah, I'm annoyed that it's bullshit they didn't repeal it. They should have. They could have, I believe, was it 2016? There's a couple of years where they had the votes, and they didn't do it, which is ridiculous. Someone by the name of Fix California has, it's going to be embarrassing. I forget is it Boromir from Lord of the Rings? And he says, quote, when you spend $27,000 a year on affordable health care, but still can't afford to get sick, getting 356 likes. Dr. Finn Federa says Obama and Nancy Pelosi destroyed our quality of healthcare. Now it's expensive trash. Yeah, I'll never forget Nancy Pelosi, the greatest stock trader of all time, obviously corrupt. She said we have to pass it so we could read what's inside it. She should have been fired that day. That's the dumbest statement I ever heard. We have to pass the bill so we could read it. What? Admitting you didn't do your job, which, again, a lot of politicians don't read the crap before they vote on it. Another issue, they have too much, they need to greatly decrease how much stuff they're trying to pass as well. And here you can see infographic from, I cannot see that website, but it says almost entire Obamacare premium increase paid for taxpayer. Yeah, and it increases exponentially throughout after 2013, which, yeah, Jesus, so much theft. And 238 likes. Stocking Cheddar says, quote, if you go to the hospital and tell them you're illegal, it's free, getting 64 likes. Yeah, that's bullshit. That's one of the reasons, kind of like retail, one of the reasons products cost a lot more than they have lately is because there's a lot of retail theft. Hospitals are the same thing. There's a lot of people that default on the medical bills. There are a lot of hospitals where, yeah, if you don't have an ID, they will treat you. And yeah, that cost is going to go somewhere. They still have to pay for their insurance. They have to pay for their doctors, their materials. One of the reasons when people look at their bill and go, well, what was it? One of my friends had a kid at a hospital, like 30 grand without insurance. It's ridiculous. Like the diapers are $300. They didn't actually cost the hospital that. It's a markup to offset some of the other losses. Carolyn Levitt says, can we just agree that insurance is a total scam and Obamacare getting 127 likes? Which, again, not all of it is a scam. I mean, I'm not going to win any political points standing up for insurance companies. Lord knows most people don't like them. But I understand the concept. I think the issue right now is the deductibles are so high and the cost is so high. Well, more and more people can't afford it, which again, that forces them to go to the government or have nothing at all. But yeah, in terms of if health insurance was, $20, $30 a month, I think their average person would pay for it. Also, if they actually gave you the service and deny. Again, I think most people are comfortable with the concept of insurance, but a lot of people have a frustration and disdain for it because they don't pay out, they're too expensive, and too complex. I mean, Lord knows, just to find a doctor, quote, unquote, in your network is a pain. You also have Gold Pony Crypto say, quote, these numbers are unfortunately true if you are self-employed, getting 66 likes. Yep. Max Brown says that's exactly how millions have felt since Obamacare passed. Many have faced premiums and deductions for years. Now it's becoming painfully obvious for others too. Just do tonsil removal one year. We had What? He said, just to do a tonsil removal 1 year, we had out-of-pocket expenses exceeding $32,000 after premiums deductions were paid. That was 9 years ago. I've not worked. It has not worked, and it has never been sustainable. 32 grand. Not to be smartass or unemotional. However, isn't a scalpel like $9? 13 if you get a really sharp scalpel, maybe. A tonsil? What? 32 grand? I mean, Jesus, that's a car or more than a year of a mortgaged. And again, that's mostly to pay for people who don't have insurance. Which again, I know there are some people who, because of illnesses, diseases, or veterans, they do not have the capacity where they could work. And they do need some help. And I think they should get help. I think my local church, nonprofit, someone else should be able to do it, and they'll do it more effectively than the government. I mean, shoot, the SNAP crisis alone showed how many people, how much corruption was in that category of government handouts alone. I think more people are becoming fed up with it and starting to realize, what if we just helped our neighbors ourselves? I would argue it would be, yes, actually, again, not a very original idea, but we just got rid of all these taxes completely and all these government handouts completely. It would be more efficient to just have a GoFundMe when you're sick and your friends and neighbors might help you out. I mean, at the end of the day, I think that'd be more fiscally efficient than the crap we have now. Oh, let's see here. I'm trying to see if there's any contrarian statements. There's only been that one, and life gets a little bit boring for echo chamber. Now this is good marketing. Crowd Health says Crowd Health is max $660 per month for a family of 4 without the huge deductible. Gained 96 likes. Now that's good advertising. Let's see here. It says some people are comparing it to. Let's see, comparing them to rates overseas. Or else says doctors are willing to take less if you pay them directly, so they don't have to fight with health insurance plans. Our platform enables that. Gain 12 likes, which, yeah, that's one of the biggest issues. And actually, like when you call a doctor and you want to ask them how much something is, they'll go, well, I don't really know. Partially because, yeah, they got to negotiate with the insurance company. One of the reasons insurance is healthcare is so expensive is because of those negotiations and insurance companies trying to justify their existence. In many cases, let's say you needed a box of gauze to absorb, blood or fluids, whatever. Well, it might cost the hospital $10. Let's say they mark it up to $20, so, helps for their administration fees, which, well, Lord knows they have too many gals working in reception at these hospitals. They need to fire some of those gals. Ironically, they are not healthy either, on average. But it's an instance where, well, the insurance company on the bill, they'll say it was, it was actually, what was it? Come on, doctor. I got to show my end user, my customer, that I'm saving them money. So $20. What if it's $500? But I got you down at $300. Everyone goes, doctor goes, sure, we're actually going to make more. And then the insurance company can go tell you, like, hey, I know that box of gauze. They wanted these guys over here, this hospital, those greedy guys. They wanted $500 for that, but I hooked you up. I got it for $300. I helped you out. Don't you feel happy paying that premium to me every month? We helped. Again, not all of them are that evil, manipulative. However, that is a thing. Going back to the main comment section, historically centrist says, quote, honestly, better with saving all of your money, take the huge risks by eliminating some behaviors, minimizing driving during rush hour, etc. Invest the savings, unless nearly $300K every decade if invested, gain 40 likes, which, not financial advice, but yeah, investments do compound dramatically over the long term. And in terms of him talking about rush hour, again, not advice, there are some auto policies that have health coverage built in. There's a lot of variables, a lot of offerings out there, but I do know some of them will cover some costs. Let's see here. And not too many other contrarian statements here. Night Fox says it's exactly what I pay for insurance yearly, 22 likes. That's criminal. A mortgage payment or a car for insurance. God, that's terrible. And ironically named the Affordable Health Care Act. Yeah, that's ironic. Kind of like the Patriot Act, the most unpatriotic act of all history, I would argue. But people passed it on the left and the right, saying, oh, it would be good for our country to spy on our citizens and destroy our rights. Let's see here. Let's see. Yahoo McDaniel says, we passed the act without a single Republican vote, then voted for the subsidies to expire in 2025 without a single Republican vote. What's Republicans' fault? Getting 5 likes. That's true, but again, Republicans had the House, the Senate, and the White House multiple times. They could have overturned it. They could have brought it up to the vote. They had the votes, could have done it. They didn't. You could argue because they're lazy, inept, corrupt, what have you. But again, some of them said, "Oh yeah, we have to keep that, so we have something to campaign on next time around." Like we couldn't get it done. We couldn't get that done now, but we'll get that next time. Kind of like for gun rights, Republicans say they're very pro-gun, and yet the NFA Act of 1934 has been around for nearly 100 years of tyranny. Now, thanks to the big beautiful bill changing the tax from a $200 tax stamp per item to $0 tax stamp per item, you could argue that the groundwork has been laid and the lawsuits actually have been filed. They can repeal that act because now is no longer a tax, which is how it's legally passed to begin with. But again, they had the White House. I mean, for the past almost 100 years, they've had the House, the White House, and Senate multiple times. They had, sometimes even had a supermajority. But they never tried to repeal, again, the NFA Act, or the National Firearms Act of 1934. Something I find especially egregious because, I'm an American and infringes on my rights. Run down more and more. Thread the Grill also says, "We just all agree that insurance is a total scam," getting 1,000 likes. Truth Win says, "Democrats forced through Obamacare when 70% like their insurance. No Republican votes. They swore it'd pay for itself, now it costs $500 billion. They broke it and left taxpayers leaving the bag. They're liars and thieves," getting 113. Yep, so we got 114 likes. Let's see here. Jeff Job compares the United States to Israel. As a kid in the United States, says student loan with the most expensive healthcare, 575,000 homeless, highest rates of depression worldwide. It says Israel, free education, free healthcare, 250 homeless, 6th happiest nation. They got 231 likes. Which ironically, they had a picture of a white guy on the left. It should have been a liberal white woman because they have the highest rates of depression and the highest consumption of pharmaceuticals and SSRIs. And they're mostly miserable with a stupid cow ring. Coincidence? I don't think so. But let me know your thoughts because, as always, be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Thank you, everyone, for taking the time to tune in today. Again, trying to get to 6,000 subscribers by the end of the month, so click that button. Greatly appreciate it. Also, give me a thumbs up, thumbs down, and comment. It's a great way to give me some additional feedback, letting me know how to make the show better and better. Lastly, don't forget to take time to tell your family, tell your friends, tell your coworkers, heck, tell your enemies, anyone, everyone. Just stay safe and fight the good fight.